Joe, can you hear us? It's already good.
I can. Good morning, good afternoon.
Hello,
Oh,
Nikki.
there's Tino. We're good.
Tino, all right.
There's Sam. We're good.
Can everyone hear? Here?
Okay, I'm here. I don't know if you can see me or not.
Yeah, we can see you.
Yes.
Great.
Momo, can you hear us?
Clearly.
Sure, hello. Let's see.
We can't really hear you right now.
Oh, we're good. And Commissioner Curiel.
I can hear you.
Excellent.
Great.
Well, being that we now have a quorum, I call to order the meeting session at 4:32. Just to confirm, Manuel, we have no public speakers. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So we are going to move into the meeting. I am going to pass the introduction of our community spotlight over to Commissioner Meek.
So today we have
Chair,
great.
it's really hard to hear.
Can you hear now? Tino,
It
can
was
you
when
hear?
Chair Small was speaking.
Can you
Yeah,
hear?
it's kind of going in and out, like it's spotty.
About that, but we're gonna keep on pushing. So it is my great pleasure to introduce one of my liaisons and to have Sam Bruce, founding director, artistic director.
Commissioner Meek, sorry, it's going in and out.
Can't help it. I don't know what to do about
Thank
it. He is going to make a presentation today to introduce those of you who are not familiar with the organization to Verdigris, and to also announce that a new production, Shams, will be happening in May. And I've seen it before and it's fabulous, and so I'm encouraging you who are not familiar with this. Go see this production. It's hard to describe what this organization is because they say they're a choral ensemble. This just doesn't even come close to saying what they are. They are more like a performance art group to me because they do music and visuals and technology. Sam likes to say that a Cirque du Soleil of choral music. So in any event, so Sam Brookman. You have to sit at that thing. Yeah, we have not a performance.
I'm already very nervous, so this makes things a little easier.
Hello, everybody. I'm the founding artistic director of Verdigris Ensemble. Verdigris is the blue-green copper patina. Coats copper when exposed to the elements. The Statue of Liberty has Verdigris on it. Gives you a different perspective and color to the metal than you would find in copper's pristine form. That's exactly what we try to leave our audiences from the moment that they come to a performance and the minute that they leave. Different color and perspective to their life. Go to the next slide. And in addition to that, we are very interested in taking that a step further through transformation. So our performances, when people come and ask me sort of what are Verdigris performances, what our goals are for them, we do art, we do music, we do visuals, we do singing. And our goal really in every single production that we do is to transform people. That by the time that they leave a performance, they not only have a different perspective, also have a thought about how they will change a single thing about their life. That might be something as simple as I will not eat this thing anymore, or it might be something as complex as I'm going to go and volunteer for something. And so we have two branches of what we do. Slide. First branch is education. So from 2019, this has been a very crucial part of our organization. We've gone to Grindr Exploratory Arts Academy in Townview High School, and we've reached over 350 students. We started in 2019, right around the time that there were discussions about auditions into high school and the challenges and problems with that admission process. So our goal was to go into Grindr Exploratory Arts Academy and basically prepare students so well that Booker T could not pay attention to them. In 2019, there was one choir student that got into Booker T. In 2024, there were 43. So we're very proud of that metric. The program has been so successful that we've actually expanded to Townview High School and are looking for a third school next year. And what we do in these schools is we'll not only give free music instruction to students, but we'll also actually create music and create musical experiences with the students. An example of that is a student that composed some poetry. We set it to music and actually performed with those students, and you can see the two students that composed that. We'll go to the next slide. The next branch, which I'll talk about pretty significantly today, is our artistic branch, and that is our performances. So we are very interested in creating performances at the intersection of music, art, and technology. And we do that all in an immersive way. And since 2017, this has been something that we've significantly focused on. One of the advantages of doing the work that we do, building performances from the ground up, is that we get to choose the subject matter. And the reality of the situation is that when we get to choose the subject matter, we get to do things that are hyper-local, hyper-relevant to our communities. So we've done things on, the environment. We've done things on social issues in Dallas. We did a performance called Misled, which was about West Dallas communities. We've done stuff about endangered species in Dallas. And so all of our artistic content revolves around these topics, but it goes beyond singing. It goes into artistic, it goes into immersive elements. And so what I'd like to bring to you today, if we go to the next slide, is the one that's upcoming very soon. So May 8th and May 23rd to 25th are our performances of Shams. I'll tell you a little bit about Shams. This is, we started working on Shams in 2020. And I found the guy that's on the next slide. His name is Saba Aminikia. And Saba, there you go. Yeah, okay. Saba, I met completely accidentally on the internet. I don't know how else to say that. But Saba is an Iranian that immigrated to the United States. He's currently in San Francisco. And on a routine trip to Tehran, Saba was abducted by the Iranian government. He's Baha'i, and was almost killed in that. And instead of admitting that he was Baha'i, at which point the government would have likely proceeded with that action, he was dropped off in an Afghan farm and said, you have 72 hours to leave this country and never come back. Generally speaking, when you meet people like that, you expect them to resort to things like substances or depression or anything like this. But Saba is like the complete opposite. And I was so enmeshed in that because this guy has made it his mission to bridge the gap between East and West. And the way that he does that is through, he's a composer, he composes music, and he also goes into Turkey every year to Mardin, which is at the border of Syria, to teach at-risk youth that are at risk of being radicalized, circus, dance, music, all sorts of things. When I met him, I had 6 conversations with him. I am a first generation, parents immigrated from the Soviet Union. So I grew up as a Russian-Ukrainian Jewish person, and I had very preconceived notions about the Middle East. And over the course of 6 conversations, Saba completely changed that for me. So when I asked Saba what he could do for me, how we could bring to Dallas what he did for me over the course of 6 conversations, he gave me Shams. And we'll go to the next slide. Shams Tabriz was a man who met Rumi and over the course of 60 days completely changes his life. Rumi is very aristocratic, he's very rational, and after he meets Shams over a period of 60 days, he becomes very concerned with human relationships with humanity and what he can do for humanity. And so what Shams is, our performance of Shams, is it's first of all, it's the largest collection of Rumi poetry set in its original Farsi in the world, sorry. And it's an exploration of the 7 stages of Rumi's relationship with Shams. After 60 days, Shams leaves Rumi, and Rumi is distraught, and he goes through these stages where he meets Shams, falls in love with Shams, is infatuated with Shams, loses Shams, and integrates his life beyond Shams. And so this story is something that we all can relate to. It's a universal story. And when I started to research how it could potentially be relevant to the Dallas community, what I found was that DFW is the 2nd largest Middle Eastern North African refugee population in the United States. And so when I found this, my eyes popped out of my head and I said, this is like a perfect match for what we can do, both for something that matches what we are passionate about and what we can bring to Dallas. We'll go to the next slide. The first performances that we had happened in May 2023. We reached over 1,000 audiences. This was the most successful performance that we've ever done within the context of Vert de Gris Ensemble. And generally speaking, when Vert de Gris has performances, people come to us and they say, oh, thank you so much. This was such a wonderful experience. Shams was the first performance where people wrote paragraphs, and Vicky, I have actually your paragraph up on the right, on the top right, that I screenshotted in 2023, of people saying, like, I was so affected by this. This was the first time that I saw people like literally in tears. Now, I'm not saying this necessarily because I want to pat ourselves on the back. I'm saying this because I think that there's something that we accidentally hit something here. And we hit a nerve in the community that is so needed. Many people within the Persian community came to me saying, it is so refreshing to hear music of my language when I hear Italian, German, and all of the other Romance languages all the time. We'll go to the next slide. So 2025 is very exciting for us because we have a larger roster than before. We're expanding our first performance. The first performance was art, song, music, and live projections. This now adds dance to it as a major component. We're collaborating. We're very, very excited to collaborate with Bruce Wood Dance on this, and with visual artist Sarah Bauman, in what we believe will be a very, very special collaboration. This is the first time that we get to work like Cirque du Soleil, where every collaborator is in the room at the same time, kind of talking through the artistic process and building it all together as opposed to me. So I know we're short on time here. This is what the first performance looked like in 2023. As you can see, there's no sound. But as you can see, it has more of sort of an immersive feel there. And we'll go to the next slide just to wrap it up. So if you visit the QR code or on our social media, you can find out more information. We'd love for you guys to come to these performances. We think they're very, very important, and we need your help to spread the word because we believe that these struck a nerve once, and we want this to reach even more people in the future. So I'm very thankful to be here and to present in front of you. Thank you so much.
Commissioners, do we have a question or comment? Commissioner Nugent.
I first saw Vert de Gris and Griner in 2019, and I've been a fan of you all these years. So I think you do incredible.
That was unusual. Okay, Commissioner.
I haven't seen that many performances. I saw the first one that you did at the Contemporary. That was Lady Bird Johnson. And a number of us
Yeah.
were there together. Yeah. And I'm a big fan of your work. I'm looking forward to the May production. Thank you for being here.
I believe Commissioner Haloma has a comment.
Yes, thank you. Sam, really glad that you're here today. I also saw the Grinder and I just loved the fact that so many of Grinder's families were there to support and you had those kids acknowledged. It was just a really, really charging in a positive way experience. And I just want to thank you for your ongoing collaboration. You and I had a great conversation a few weeks ago, and that resulted in you hosting a session at the Salmon Center this coming Monday.
At the Salmon Center.
So really, really excited about that. Thank you for everything you're doing and for Verdigris.
All right.
It's at the Salmon Center.
Davidson.
Yes, and the content,
Commissioner Curiel.
Sam. I want to say that I just admire the trajectory. Like I think I met you at like a meet and greet and a bar that Hector probably invited me to, and watching you go from ideas to steps to fruition is something to behold. And I hope we get to pick your brain about this project that we're doing, where we're helping other artists kind of scale. And anyway, I just want to say that it's been amazing to watch. Thanks.
Thank you. If we.
Well, I really, I don't know what I can say other than the fact that he and I talk all the time. So I have an interest in the bigger vision that Sam is going to at some point put forth to us about what he would like for Verdigris to move into. But he's such a visionary that I think, whatever he's planning, it's going to be fabulous. And we just need to be on board.
just a quick note that the Salmon Center, the Salmon Center talk will be on AI and art. So we'll talk through the artistic and the administrative side of how we can use artificial intelligence to scale, to Commissioner Curiel's point.
And that was Monday at what time?
11:30 to 1.
11:31.
I'll send the registration link to Emmanuel.
Thank you. If there are no other comments, can we get a round of applause? We're going to move our agenda and go to the first voting item. Everyone has received a copy of the March 20th minutes for the Arts and Culture Advisory Commission meeting. If there are no comments or discussion on this, can we get a motion? Okay. I heard that, so Commissioner Meek made the motion, and I see the second from Commissioner Weinstein. All in favor? Any opposition? We can no longer see the virtual, there we go. All right, just for the record, all in favor virtually? Can we get a show of hands? All right, so it's unanimous. The minutes of the March 20th meeting passed. The next item, voting item, is a recommendation in support of the public art collection policy. So it passes over to Commissioner Weinstein for this.
You want to come talk about this, please? Yeah, we're gonna have Guy talk about this.
Oh, okay.
It's Guy's project, and it's really cool.
Okay. If you want to.
And it did pass unanimously by the Public Art Committee this week. Just, well, we'll start with that
Okay. There we
for
go.
last week, I guess.
Well, I just took this over the finish line. Lynn really started this a while ago. This was vetted by the city attorney's office as well. On the Public Art Committee's agenda for a couple of months in a row, but we finally brought this. This is something that's a living document for us, but it's actually gonna help us with the number of issues that we have. One stressful one is the deaccessioning things. It's a reality now. A lot of these buildings are getting older, and Austin is going through this too. So this document will help us guide us through some of these trickier portions that we have. If you haven't seen it, by all means, I can certainly share it with all of you guys, but
It's included in the deck.
Yeah.
perfect.
Yes, so we've had it.
Excellent. And I'd love to be able to take that draft form off of it eventually too, so.
So it deals with deaccessioning, which is and also, it's important to note, sorry to interrupt, Guy, but, donations, because we're getting more
Yes,
calls about
donations
donations.
as well.
That's another important one to give us guidance. And for some of you commissioners, this has been an issue in the last few months. So we have now something in writing guiding the way.
Yes, so it is a living document for us, but it is really something that we can start, once, if it's voted for recommendation and approval, then we can start actually using this as a tool to educate the different people on donations, deaccessioning, all that kind of stuff too. So there's no questions?
Since we have the recommendation from the Public Art Committee, if there's no other discussion or questions on the proposed policy and the recommendations, can we get a motion?
So moved.
We've got a motion from Commissioner Weinstein and a second from Commissioner Meek. If there's no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No opposition, unanimous on the virtual, so the recommendations in support of the public art collection policy passes. Next.
Thank you.
Ah.
Yay, take that.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God. The next voting agenda item is a recommendation in support of artist finalist, Commissioner Weinstein.
Yes. So I'm gonna make a motion and then we can discuss this if we so want. I make a motion in support of artist finalist June Keem for Bachman Lake Public Art Project in Council District 10. And this, can we get the slides on these, please? This is the skate park. And if you can make that bigger so that those in the room can see it, it's in the deck, but I don't know if everybody got the deck.
It was in the deck last.
Everybody's got it down here.
Yeah. Oh, okay, perfect. And it's still not very big. There you go. And this passed Public Art Committee recommendation last week as well. So, yeah, there are
Second.
more slides. Can you second already?
Well, we have,
No, all right. So here's some other images. It's a pretty fabulous piece. It will be very exciting to get this up. I can tell you that perhaps somebody on the staff who doesn't love murals, might run the program or not, loves this piece. So that is like a huge go for it. But she did not have a vote. The committee had a vote and this is what they voted for. So it's really exciting. It's colorful. It's engaging. It's pretty fabulous. And it's gonna happen fast once we pass this. Any questions, comments? Yes,
we've
Joe.
already got, it's been properly moved and seconded.
Oh, I've got a comment, sorry.
Please.
This skate park has been around since I was a kid, and since I'm ancient, that's a long, long time.
No.
This is really, really exciting, so kudos to you all.
The other Commissioner Daniel.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, when I was going through the briefing document and I saw this, I was like, oh, so I just wanted to say, like, it genuinely, as I was kind of flipping through, this caught my eye. I do love it. I really, really love its vibrancy, and the juxtaposition of it in a skate park, I think, is really, really cool. So I just wanted to say, I'm around a lot of murals. I love murals, and this is a really dope mural.
See, it appeals to everybody, y'all. Yeah, if you look in your deck and it shows where, I think it has the juxtaposition of like what the skate park, the concrete looks like, and it's really, you can really see how it's going to like kind of embrace the space and change the way you interact in that space. So.
Any other comments or questions on the motion? If not, it's been properly moved and seconded, so all in favor?
Aye.
Chair Small, who was the second?
Me, Commissioner. Were you the
Commissioner
second?
Meek. Commissioner Meek was the second.
Thank you.
Any opposition? No opposition. Therefore, the recommendation and support of the artist finalist passes. Next, we need to vote. The next item is to recommend adding panelists to the Office of Arts and Culture's funding programs review panel roster. Want to present from staff on the roster?
Just that we have a number of panelists.
Julia, thank you so much.
We have a number of panelists to bring to you. They have been nominated, either self-nominated as artists in our community, or they've been nominated by current panelists on Arts Boise staff member, or actually our COP organization who've done a great job advocating for review panels as well. They're all wonderful, fabulous folks, several of whom actually jumped in right away and participated in Arts Activate round 3. So please consider voting them in. We're excited to have them on a review panel that helps review all of our major funding programs. We really need these folks.
Well, the deck has the information on the panelists as well. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So are there any comments or questions regarding the information?
No, but I would like to make a motion.
Okay. If there's no
Well, do we
question or
need, do
comment,
we need a motion first before discussion?
Yes.
well,
Sorry.
on the information, let's get comments on the information before we make the motion.
Just one thing, I'm just noticing, as we are going along, we're sort of, light on people with dance experience. And I would love to, us really sort of make it a thing to find people who might have that expertise. There are a lot of people with visual, a lot of theater and all that, but I think I've noticed this as we've gone along, that we don't seem to have a whole lot of dance representation.
Could we get a response to Commissioner Meek's comment?
We'll just be looking for.
Thank you. I'll take that suggestion.
Okay, there we go.
Okay,
We'll take it under advisement.
We'll just look for people
Well,
and
That'd be great.
Right, just a reminder to all the commissioners, it's really that's one of our
Right.
jobs, which I think is what Commissioner Meek is saying. So just to encourage everybody to submit those names, speak to them. If you don't know how to explain to them what the job is, give Julia a call. She'll send the material.
I have a really nice letter that I
I have a
send
nice
them.
letter.
I do. It's
I bet.
nominate.
Yes. It explains the time commitment and all of that.
All right. Commissioner
Is
Blaze.
this an ongoing process?
Yes.
Can we just go ahead and nominate,
Rolling.
nominate and nominate, right?
Yes, ma'am. We check it every month. Next week.
And the review panelists are very important because they help decide on the funding. Is that
They
correct?
are crucial. We
Yes.
cannot award any funding without at least 5 members of this roster reading and adjudicating each and every application.
Commissioner Glover.
So if it's kind of rolling, there's not a point at which it's just confirmed who's on the committee?
No, ma'am. There's a rolling roster that we can add to and then that's move or ask. Before every round that we need folks, we invite the whole roster. And then people can opt into reviewing that round.
If they opt out, are they just off then? Because somebody else might want to keep opting in and you wouldn't want somebody to opt out now and then, right?
Right, so if you choose not to participate in a round, no harm, no foul, we'll email you.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's basically, it's like a pool.
Yes, that's exactly the way to put it. It's a pool of about 300 folks. Ideally, I'd really like around 500 because we need more every round as our applications increase, which they have been doing consistently for the past 2 years. And typically we need between 50 and 80 people to participate every time.
Well, Commissioner Spellacy online has his hand raised.
I actually just, I know we added to the COP that we were requiring each group to provide at least one panelist. I was just wondering if that if you noticed a difference with that rule in place, if that had helped you fill out the panels a little bit more easily.
Some, I think I will need to remind them of that requirement because it's new, but I'd say a majority of our organizations have at least nominated someone. And many of those folks we've seen do at least one round of Arts Activate, which is exciting. So I would say it wasn't a giant volume yet, but the majority of our COP organizations have started it, yes, which is very helpful.
If there are no other comments or questions on the recommendation, can we now get a motion?
I move that we accept the additional panelist as recommended by the applications committee.
And Commissioner Blaze is seconded, so we have a motion by Commissioner Bragalone and a second by Commissioner Blaze. All in favor? Opposed? No opposition? All right, so those recommendations passed.
Excuse me, Chair,
Yes.
can I ask a question?
Sure. Sure.
Okay. So you were just talking about if you want to recommend someone.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the process again?
There is a link, it's dow.city/OAC panelist, or you can just send me an email and I'll send it to you, but there's a link where you can nominate someone or self-nominate, and you fill out exactly what you get on that sheet. So your zip code, your experience in the arts, your name, address, email, and then we contact you and say, thank you so much for being on our panel. We'll let you know when CAC has voted you in, and after that, we'll start inviting you to be a panelist.
And is that a link off the OAC website?
It's a form. I know it's on the website
I'm
somewhere.
not very good about writing things down. If it's,
It goes out.
We'll get a link to you.
We'll get the information to come.
Okay.
And really, Julia, please don't leave yet. Our next voting item is to recommend the Arts Activate 2026 guidelines. So I'm going to ask Commissioner Bragalone, how do you want to lead this discussion?
I would like for Julia to brief us on it because it's a lot, but I will do as Commissioner Weinstein did and say that at the conclusion of that, I would like to make a motion that that these be accepted. And I tell you that a tremendous amount of work went into these guidelines. Particularly, we did delay them a little bit to add Julia's wisdom to it once she returned back to the office. And the changes we've made are really thought through, and the committee recommends them unanimously.
Okay. Julia, the floor.
Thank you. And thank you for your consideration of the Arts Activate 2026 guidelines. As a reminder, we have a lot of funding programs at the city. Arts Activate is the one that is project-based. So operational COP we'll see in the fall. There's some that are individual unit, there's public art. Arts Activate is a project-based program with a start and a stop. So think like concerts, classes, workshops. And typically this program has the fewest barriers to entry, so we get the most applicants. It is open to pretty much everybody from individual artists all the way up to really big 501c3s. And there are no revenue or portfolio requirements. We have $1,300,000 this year, and rounds of it, all of which have over 100, which is the second year in a row. So we're really excited that this program continues to have great representation in all of our districts and great representation from artists and organizations both. It's a really special way that we get to support something that happens very quickly and meaningfully for our communities.
What are the highlights of the changes?
Next slide. Could I have it? Oh, perfect. Okay. Here are the changes. They're, the page numbers are in red. Basically, because we have such a high volume of people participating, we are indeed limiting the number of COP organizations that can apply for this. We used to be COP organizations that got more than 150 could apply. We have brought that number down to more than 100 cannot apply. We also have added specific language in the guidelines that says if you've already been funded by Arts Activate at least once this year, we can prioritize a new or artist who has not yet been funded this year with similar scores. We have not said that outright in the past, but the demand is now so high for this program that we really like to literally spread the wealth. So that's the reason for that. Application, we are stretching out the dates between the rounds. That's because, as we just talked about, the need for the panelists is really, really high, and they have a lot to do to read all of these applications, and we need to give them a little bit more time to do that, and staff a little bit more time to score. We also added points so that people really understand what they're getting into when they sign a contract with the city by asking them to review the special events and insurance and permits website. Often artists walk into a contract process with us and don't realize that if you're working with children, you need insurance and all the hoops of working with the city. And so hopefully adding more of quiz basically in the application that they can phone a friend, they can check online, that friend can be me, you can take it as many times as you want. It's not supposed to be a challenging barrier. It's set so that folks are more prepared for entering into a contract with us if they're selected for something. We are also really excited about a resource that we're going to be adding to the guidelines because we noticed that this program, artists do not often propose projects in districts 3, 4, 5, 11, and 12. So we have been finding venues in those 5 districts that are not necessarily arts organizations. One I'm really excited about is actually a quilting store that has a retreat center upstairs, but it's non-traditional spaces or spaces that would really like to have Arts Activate applicants call them. And we will be attaching a guide, a sort of mini phone book of those places as an appendix to the guidelines on our website, so that artists that have options of where they could perform or do they art could potentially be encouraged to go to the districts where we have less representation. So if you are a commissioner from 3, 4, 5, 11, and 12, hello, my friends, you'll be receiving an email from me so that I can get suggestions from you on where to call next. Finally, the contract process, this is not super laid out in the guidelines, but just so you know what your allocations committee has been up to, we will be requiring that Arts Activate funded public events need to be listed on GoCDFW to be able to get their second check. And what this will do for artists is give them more free marketing. What this will do for us is a way that we'll be able to pull all of the projects that were funded through Arts Activate on GoCDFW and better explain to Dallas community where their taxpayer dollars are going and where they can see art close to their homes rather than necessarily community arts district. So we're really excited about all of these changes. None of them are really all that huge, but we hope they will be meaningful to the reach of this program and the user experience artist side. This is an example of what the venue resource guide is kind of going to look like, and some folks that have already signed up. Yeah, I think you heard from Flamenco Fever and their new building. They're excited to be on it, even though they're not in those districts. They are really excited to have Arts Activate folks. So we've added them here. Urban Arts Center is in District 4. Goldmark, Best Little Quilt Shop, and Kitchen Cafe are in 11 and 12. If and as you have more, please let me know. We're really excited to build this out.
All right. Any other information to be presented on the changes?
This is just a list of how the points will be scored. Again, the only change is we added that special events and insurance quiz.
See, Commissioner Trezilla has her hand raised.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry for that feedback. For the commissioners in the areas where we're looking for non-traditional sites, kindly ask your council person if they will put a blurb in their newsletter asking for non-traditional sites. I'm really excited to see what we get back with that.
Any other comments on the proposed changes for the guidelines, Arts Activate guidelines? If there are no other comments or questions, I believe
I
Commissioner
move
Brennan
that the revised Arts Activate guidelines be approved as recommended.
and Commissioner Meek is the second. Any discussion? No other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposition. So the guidelines for Arts Activate passed unanimously.
Yay.
I have a couple of quick announcements, and our director's probably gonna beat me up for saying this because I'm so late to the party on this. But does everybody know, this is National Library Week? Did anybody, y'all know this? And so I've been getting into. Oh, really? You've got it on it? But I've been getting into our Culture Pass. So I know I'm late to the party on this, but it's like really awesome. So for those who haven't.
Better late than never.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I mean, it's like you can do, every day can be busy, you know, with the Culture Pass.
Sure.
And it's- Yes.
To that end, the next step for you, since you're just getting into it.
Yes.
Email all of your friends and neighbors. Because it's
Yes.
surprising how many people know about it.
Thank you.
And sometimes Jeff and I attend these sort of open mic things from time to time. And so one of the things I love to do there is you're in a group full of people who are there for free arts. So go up to whoever has the mic and ask them if they will make an announcement about Culture Pass.
Yes.
To all the people who are attending there, and about our CAP program for all of the artists. Because we have a lot of artists that don't know about CAP, or Arts Activate, but I always go up and ask them if they would make an announcement, encouraging people to go to the OAC website and I just give them a short blurb. You can get free tickets, you can get funding as an artist, you can call Mickey if you have some questions and she'll get you to the right person. So if you would do that.
I sure will. I sure will. So that's one announcement. Also, at our last meeting for cultural planning and equity, Commissioner Curiel announced she has a program. I believe it's happening this Saturday. Is that right, Commissioner Curiel?
It's not my program, it's a program I just support.
Oh, okay.
It's a program directed by Lisa Schmidt.
Yeah, for some reason your audio is in and out, but could you speak to that a little bit?
So Lisa Schmidt, she has a theater program. Many of you might know her from Spotlight, but she also has her own theater program called Big Cut. And she will be at Pleasant Grove Library. They've been there for weeks now at the Pleasant Grove Library. And they'll be doing
Out. We're gonna, yes. And it was sent out, and Commissioner Bragalon says she has the details.
I think since we can't hear you, Commissioner Curiel, and wave your hand wildly if I'm getting this wrong, but the production is by Big Heart Theater. It's called Rhythm and Clues and Courage. It's April 12th at the Pleasant Grove Library Theater. There are performances at 11 and at 2 o'clock.
There we go. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I just want to clearly.
Okay, Commissioner Trizilla.
Oh, no. She's in her hands.
Oh, your hand was still up. Commissioner Halomo, you're on mute, but your hand is up.
Thank you. I believe Emmanuel sent this information out to us already.
Yes, that's where I saw it. Yes, exactly. Anything further? I don't see anything. All right. Dallas Theater Center, briefing on Kalita Humphreys lease agreement.
All right, Glenn and I are thrilled to be here before you with another update regarding one of our amazing facilities. You'll note this information is going to be presented at Quality of Life on the 21st and then moving forward to council on the 23rd. Glenn's going to give us a brief overview. I want to acknowledge our partners at Dallas Theater Center, Kevin Moriarty and his team for meeting with our leadership team over the last several months to land at this Amendment 6. We'll note some of the information and then we'll entertain any questions you have about what he is going to share on the next 2 slides.
So obviously we're looking at Amendment 6, which means we have an original agreement and 5 prior amendments. to the Kalita lease agreement. This is an agreement between Dallas Theater Center and the city of Dallas to manage the Kalita Humphreys Theater and the Helt Annex Building. Also includes Frank's Place and Wynn Studio. I don't need to read all these out to you, but all of the original agreement amendments are listed there with some highlights as to what those really addressed through it. You can see the last one was a term extension, and so we're doing basically the same thing as we did with the DMA. It's a little bit longer. We're looking at 3 years here instead of 2, but again, it's one of those things where it's time to get it together and figure out how to best manage this facility. So for the Sixth Amendment, like Martine said, we've been having regular meetings with Dallas Theater Center leadership to find a short-term extension which minimally impacts all areas of consideration, which are the care and operation of the Kalita and the Helt Annex Building, which is of course the City of Dallas asset, the Dallas Theater Center's historic investment of the venue and the current management of its operation, resident theater groups and other non-resident groups and users, scheduling and booking, those processes and timelines to take into consideration, the equitable access plan, and increased costs of operating the venue and resulting increased rents that take place throughout the year over year. So all of those are taking under consideration and the sort of topics of conversation as we went to the theater center's leadership to figure out how we can structure the Sixth Amendment to kind of stay at the most status quo, minimally impact all of these invested groups. So next slide, please. Okay, great. So here, the Sixth Amendment has 4 substantive changes. The first of which is the term extension. So the current amendment expires June 1 of 25. So we're looking at an extension from June 1, 25 through September 30, 28. So it's about 3 years, a little bit more than 3 years, right? So this extension will provide a timeline of 3 standard performance seasons, 2 of which OAC will engage with Dallas Theater Center and our other partners to address the complexities of the current agreement and determine the best solution for a successful, safe, accessible, and sustainable future of the operation of the Kalita, right? So the 3rd year will allow for the proper communication and planning for any given outcome to ensure that theater groups and users do not experience an interruption in their season planning processes, right? We're trying to make sure that everyone is aware, communication is clear, and everyone has plenty of time, regardless of outcome, to make the business decisions they need to based off of that result, right? The other is the extension of the equitable access plan to include a continued allotment of 12 weeks reserved for non-resident groups at the Kalita and Helt Annex Building on an annual basis. So that is the current agreement, basically sort of the last year of what the equitable access plan looked like and the number of weeks that they were supposed, that theater center is supposed to hold for those non-resident theater groups. So sticking to the status quo on that one, right? And then the suspension of base rental rates at the published amount for FY25 for nonprofit organizations renting the Kalita Humphreys Theater or spaces in the Helt Annex Building, right? So we're suspending rental rates based off of what they are in the current year status quo. And then also some direct financial support to the Dallas Theater Center provided annually for the 3-year term of the agreement. And this support is meant to supplement the continued increased costs associated with operating the Kalita Theater and the Helt Annex Building, and also to supplement those suspended rental rates that are associated with renting those facilities. So we've asked them to freeze those rates. That direct financial support is a means of supplementing what would be increased rates that would then impact those other resident groups and users that are there, right? So that's sort of all in all what this looks like to help kind of carry us through this 3-year term, doing minimal impact as well as maximum communication and engagement with our partners to find out what that best outcome is for the Kalita. And that's that.
Awesome. Commissioner Blaze.
One just quick housekeeping thing at the very top, to manage the Kalita Humphreys Theater and the Helt Annex Building with Frank's Place and Wynn Studio in parentheses, makes it sound like Frank's Place and Wynn Studio are in the Annex Building and they are not.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that clarification.
They are in the Wiley Wing. I mean, Frank's Place used to be Lay Studio, Wynn Studio in the Wiley Wing. That added on thing that has all awful algae growing all over.
Great.
Okay, I understand the need to extend the agreement because COVID messed up everything. I totally get that. But my question is, why should that first 2 years take 2 years?
We can use the DMA as another example. We're using about 2 years for the DMA to do our negotiation. It's time, everyone's busy. So that's one. 2 years to also, in this particular instance, with sort of the nuance of the Kalita and what's happened in the past, is the engagement with all of the active partners in the facility to make sure that everyone has a chance to come to the table. And a lot of it, I feel like, is logistics mostly, scheduling and making sure that everyone's included who can be included. The reality is we're really trying to come to that agreement in that first year, because then after that, it's probably gonna take about a year later to even look at an agreement and reach to that outcome. And then we hit the third year of, we know what's gonna happen pending this final year of communication and everyone has a chance to plan.
I understand the reasoning behind what needs to happen. I still have a question about why it should take 2 years to do that, why it couldn't be done in a year.
In our conversation in theaters,
A year is not feasible. What? A year is just simply not.
it's just not enough.
All right, and I would like to say that the allotment of 12 weeks, which was the agreement that we had, just for the benefit of Kalita, to know that when that schedule was made, they were not performing very much in Kalita. So there was a lot more open time, free time in there to rent to other spaces. So that's just something that maybe should be considered. I don't know, but.
As far as the sort of terms that we've come to now, everyone, the theater center and the city are very okay with all of these terms. Yes, everyone's big thumbs up and support as far as this goes, understanding that it's just meant for this short term. All of this will be part of that conversation moving forward.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that. And for the direct financial support, are you saying that you're saying the base cost is going to be wiped away, or is it going to remain the same and then we fund what they should have been able to get with the increased costs?
Sure, so they've published their FY25 base rental rates right now for nonprofit organizations. And so as a part of the agreement, those numbers will freeze. So whatever they are this year is what they will be. So organizations will know over the next 3 years what their base rental rates will be.
So they're just frozen? They're
Yes.
not- Okay.
They're not taken away.
They're just frozen. Okay, well, that makes sense too. And then we, as a city, are going to recompense them in some way for the extra cost that it's going to take them for their increased cost.
Correct, yeah.
Through the end of the 3-year term.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that all kind of makes sense. I would just like to throw out the idea that a rental reimbursement plan could do the same thing. And we might think about that for future discussion.
Great.
Anything further, Commissioner Blaze?
How much is the city going to pony up to the Dallas theaters?
It's wondering if someone's gonna actually ask. So currently, as we're working on, I don't think it's inappropriate to say because it's about to be posted. The amount.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so the cost consideration for this agreement is not to exceed $150,000, $50,000 annually to the organization.
Any questions online? I don't see anybody. I see any other comments, no other questions? Liz, thank you so much.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have a briefing on the Dallas Cultural Trail.
Yes, we
Here
do.
we
All right,
go.
let me welcome Stephanie Hudeberg, who is the Executive Director of the Pelham Foundation. I have the pleasure, on behalf of the Office of Arts and Culture, of participating on a task force work group, if you will, that the foundation put together, multiple members from around the city of Dallas who are working to support this legacy project, which is the Dallas Cultural Trail. On record, this should be the second time we're discussing the Dallas Cultural Trail with this body. And I just thought, because the Dallas Cultural Trail as a project is one of our city manager's top priorities related to our office's efforts. And so we are bringing this information to you for your awareness and at some point in the near future for your support in the event that we need some advocates to speak to council members and on and on. So I'll be here in support of Stephanie's briefing. And I'm really thrilled to see you. Thank you for being here, Dawn.
Thank you all so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I've never briefed in front of this group, and so I'm delighted to be here and to hear about the great work that you all are doing, and to be here on behalf of the Dallas Cultural Trail and our coalition. We are a coalition. It is Dallas Arts Month, so I wish some of them could be with me here today, but fortunately they're out planning and hosting and doing events across our city, which is fantastic. So you'll have to bear with me and Martine and ask our friends follow-up questions if I can't answer them. But I am grateful to Martine for hosting us and for also serving on our body and really being a champion in this. I'm also particularly thankful to Councilmember Moreno, who has really been a leader on this and committed to this effort. Councilman Basildu has been incredibly supportive of this. So our council members, we are incredibly grateful to, as well as the city of Dallas, for their commitment to this. So for us here today, next slide, just want to share a little bit of briefing with you. So who has heard of this so far? Who's heard of the Dallas Cultural Trail? Okay, so you guys have heard of it at least. All right, that's great. So today I just want to walk a little bit through, what is this big idea, right? Who are we behind it? How is it being funded? I'll give you a little bit of flavor of the maps and experiences. So that's all we're really wanting to share with today. So starting with kind of the big idea, if you go through some of the next slides with me here as I talk about it. For us, the big idea is just imagine the richness of our culture here in Dallas, just at the fingertips of our heritage and our living pulse of the arts, connected through one dynamic choose your own adventure, right? So we think this will be a great accompaniment to Culture Pass. We think this will be something where it can really range. So imagine students walking through their neighborhoods, or our neighborhoods they know throughout the city, but with a new lens onto the history that they didn't know was right underneath their noses. Imagine tourists coming to Dallas and not only having access to guided experiences maps, but integrated technology where they're able to, for example, stand in front of the bomb factory, scan a QR code, and hear Erykah Badu talking about how she opened up that venue on its very first night, or be tapping into AR technology to see muralists painting live in front of them, or to, for example, be able to pull up documentary footage explaining and exploring how the now swanky Pittman Hotel is actually integrally connected to Booker T. So these things are really exciting for us. Imagine cyclists being able to go from Queen City all the way to the GMA, maybe stopping and grabbing photos in front of sculptures along the way, grabbing some beers, maybe heading over and learning some more from historical markers. Imagine, for example, friends getting off, it's been a long day at work, they're walking along, about to go out to dinner, and they happen to catch a live show that they didn't know was going to happen underneath the stars right at the feet of the traveling man. And then they're like, wow, that was amazing. And they end up deciding to go to the next show at the Latino Cultural Center, which they've never been to before. All of these things we foresee as being possible through the Dallas Cultural Trail. And so this is something that we're obviously passionate about and really excited to share with you and to bring forth. It's something that has been in the works for several years now. We do have a body, so next slide, that has been working on this with us. It is planned in 3 phases. We've started digitally. We plan on phase 2. The first phase is really all digital. We want to test it out. We want to see how it's working. We'll continue through the slides. The next phase is installations. We've already started adding what we believe will be anchor points along this trail. For example, we just upgraded the musical art garden underneath 345 in between downtown and Deep Ellum. So sculptures, pieces that are private property as well as hopefully through public art. We've also been discussing with the Nasher about leveraging their incredible program to bring art out into the public realm. And then finally, of course, our infrastructure improvements being the last phase of bringing this project to life. And so continuing through the slides. Yes, so you'll see things on it, everything ranging from historic markers, arts and cultural points of interest, art installations, pedestrian and bike infrastructure, new lighting, publicly accessible performance and gathering spaces, new park spaces, as just examples of what we foresee along the trail. Slide. So who has been involved? Our leadership team is really comprised of the 3 existing state recognized cultural districts. That's our organization, the Deep Ellum Foundation, Dallas Arts District, Fair Park First,
But also the Office of Arts and Culture, again, has been a champion of this. Visit Dallas is on our group, as well as a number of others, Friends of Santa Fe Trail, Force Forward, and others, particularly within the 3 state recognized cultural districts. And I'll talk a little bit about where we foresee it going, where we see it going beyond that as we kind of get into the maps. So next slide. We've also been talking with our probably a dozen agencies, of course, whether it's within the city of Dallas, Transportation Department, but also federal, regional, state agencies to prepare and partner on this, whether it's the North Central Texas of Governments and the U.S. Department of Transportation. So far, we have several commitments that have gone toward funding this to get us off the ground. The 3 recognized cultural districts have put up small seed funding. We have also got our commitment, thankfully, our seed funding commitment from the Office of Arts and Culture to help get it off the ground. We're grateful to have been included in the 2024 bond. About $250,000 is committed through that bond program. And then most recently, we were awarded a U.S. Department of Transportation grant for the Reconnecting Communities program. Now, as many of you know, that is a big if because it is party to the freeze on all federal grants right now. So we don't know. We're waiting like everybody else to see what happens with that. But we do expect to need about $2 million to really get the project started. And the reason part of that is it's really critical to us to do this right. This is a big project. This is a project that is going to involve a significant amount of research, and most importantly, community outreach. We are led by community-based organizations and community organizations that sit and work within communities every day. And it's important to us to make sure that as part of the design process, that integration of input from the groups that are part of this are baked into that process. And so we do expect about a $2 million investment to really do the design, the outreach, the initial engineering and feasibility. That will then position us to move toward what we think will be funding for the actual construction and furthering of that engineering. And so that we're expecting, and this is based on very initial estimates, an additional 40 million or so. So it's a massive undertaking, many years in the making, but next slide, there are some pieces that are already starting to come together along. And so as an initial route, again, we are looking at connecting the existing adjacent state recognized cultural districts. That includes the Dallas Arts District, Deep Ellum, and South Dallas Fair Park. And so from the DMA essentially all the way to the Forest Theater is what we're talking about for phase 1. We do envision this, and you can go to the next slide, eventually becoming a loop trail, connecting, for example, Oak Cliff, and hopefully at some point in the near future, the Oak Cliff Cultural District, Bishop Arts, through the Design District, all the way back through into downtown. And so, but for phase 1, we are anticipating the 3 existing contiguous cultural districts to start the project off, especially being such a massive project. And so here's some of the maps to just kind of give you a sense of where we're talking about to start. And next slide. Oh, there we go. I have it on my screen. To give you an example of some of the building blocks that are going into place already, it isn't starting from scratch. Again, we're starting digitally, but there are also pieces all along the route in every one of these cultural districts that are already coming to fruition. For example, the Park Board has supported the Artifact Park that will be at the trailhead of the Santa Fe Trail on this route. DART is funding the park that I spoke of, where friends might be gathering underneath the stars. That park is already in the works. It has been initially designed by DART in town. So there are pieces, it is that exciting, but that is exactly what's going to be happening on this trail. So we're excited about it. There are pieces already coming into place again with this phasing where we do digital and then have kind of anchor points along the way, whether sculptures, murals, performance park spaces being added, and then ultimately the infrastructure to add the very boring but important things like curb cuts and wayfinding signage, ADA ramping, that kind of thing. This trail route. So these are just some visual examples of what those experiences could be like along the trail. This is, of So we're traveling band, hoping to be dressed in various jerseys for the World Cup and people will be able to come and enjoy him. But right now he's actually standing over a gravel pit and it's not all that exciting. It's actually kind of a bummer at the moment when you go and visit here. And so trying to carve out those moments in the city where as we do continue to see infill development, and we do continue to see Dallas continue to grow and welcome the residents of Rapid Cliff, we are creating those moments of repose and gathering along this trail. So those are just some samples of the experience. We intend to see park space, performance space, you can keep going, but also new historical markers. Some examples of what we might see along the trail route. Music. And most importantly, connecting to our existing spaces that we already have in the city of Dallas, whether independent gallery, whether museums, whether our institutions, our history exhibits, our cultural centers across the city. We see this as a means to amplify and connect those in a physical as well as a promotional way as well. And so whether it's Deep Ellum books or whether it's South Dallas cultural culture, we see this as a way to connect and uplift those that are already doing the work and bringing the incredible arts and culture that make Dallas unique to tourists, to residents, to visitors alike. So with that, I'll.
Thank you. Are there any comments? Commissioner Glover?
Well, the freeze notwithstanding, do you have any sort of idea, timeline on from the time that this starts to be really implemented? I mean, is this like a 5-year thing or?
It's a great question. So digitally, we're hoping to get at least something in place before June 2026, like a lot of people, to make sure that we do have some access before the World Cup as far as that stage of it. In terms of the actual funding coming through, if we did get funded like originally anticipated, that would actually expedite. And again, everything is up in the air now, but originally based on the grant cycle, the grant program, you have to spend that money pretty quickly. So we would expect design to last for really 1 year and have that community outreach and design process to be about a year. And then construction is not funded. So we would have to be funded after that before we would be positioned once we have this full scope of design and initial engineering to go for that funding. So I would expect a 5-year if we did get the U.S. Department of Transportation funding. If we still continue with just our bond funding, which is absolutely also substantial and was critical to getting that federal grant, we still have the ability to move forward with the design, probably just go a little bit slower. We do hope and need your input, your guidance, and also your championship. We're hoping to find private philanthropy to come in and match and are in those conversations, given that we don't know what's going to happen with the U.S. Department of Transportation grant. So 5 years would be like the earliest if we don't get that grant to be able to see infrastructure improvements. We're obviously in good conversation with the Department of Transportation, as well as the North Central Texas Council of Governments and TxDOT. So this trail is also being integrated into planning, for example, for Highway 345. And okay, well, what does it look like? What does the actual infrastructure look like as you cross from the Arts District into Deep Ellum, into Fair Park, South Dallas, when that is redone? And so I do foresee it in multiple phases. I wish I had like a crisp, here's the years for you, but right now with the funding.
Okay, thank you.
I believe Commissioner Daniel has a comment or a question.
Thank you, Chair. Transparently, I'm on the board of the Deep Ellum Foundation, so I'm a huge fan of this. So, Stephanie, thank you very much for bringing this to life. And just for the commission's awareness, this is something that has been kind of a passion project of all the organizations that you see represented there. And what I'm most excited about is like the opportunity that this has to tell a cohesive Dallas story of what our cultural experience can be and in the ways that it shows up. And so that means that as more cultural districts come online, Oak Cliff, et cetera, that becomes an opportunity to expand that story that we're telling. One of the things that I've always felt is we know that we have a lot of really dope stuff happening in the city. The challenge oftentimes is the people that aren't as connected, as involved, as invested as we are, don't. And that's both people within our city, but I think more importantly, especially in light of things like the World Cup, folks outside of our city. You know, we're getting ready to have 100,000 people a day come to the city, and giving them, serving them on a silver platter. Here's where you can experience culture across these districts, I think is extremely important. So I love anytime you can make it as easy as possible for people to understand the culture of a community. So huge fan of this. And I just wanted to say, Stephanie, thank you very much for your leadership, and kind of taking the charge on this, because in all that I've said, it's being a passion project of the foundation. It's been a significant passion project of Stephanie to corral all the different organizations to make this happen. So thank you very much.
All right, we'll let our director.
As far as next steps are concerned, we hosted a field trip last fiscal year to visit the Atlanta Beltline. Councilman Moreno and Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Belzadua joined us, Councilman Gracie, City Manager Tolbert, and we will be revisiting with a new group, more city staff, Parks Department, Gus over in Transportation and Public Works, just for folks to get an understanding of, number one, why we keep referencing this as a legacy project, because it is an effort that transforms cities in one way or another. So we want to ensure that all folks have sight on the vision that we have set forward in support of what Stephanie's doing and all of the parties that are participating on that working group. So after that, we are really going to lean on you simply to, one, support us in our efforts related to public-private partnership. Obviously, this is not going to come to life without our folks in the private sector outside of the city to come and be as supportive as we're trying to be. So if you have folks in your networks that you think may be interested in getting on board with us, now is the time. So please do send those folks our way so that we can invite them into the conversation.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Hi, I'm going to be brief. First, of course, thank you all for your time and your service. As commissioners, we've been accomplishing really great things each month, and I'm just really thrilled to be a part of this season of the office. This 12th Dallas Arts Month, I want to remind and invite you to be as physically present as possible. You know, it's a very interesting time for us, folks who work for any municipality, to be frank. But what I know counts is attendance and folks showing up to demonstrate what their priorities are. And so, of course, we have two events that I'd like to highlight. One, the DACAC Arts Advocacy Luncheon. I don't have the date on my mind. April 24th. Of course, we'll email it to you, so.
April 22nd.
Thank you. And Commissioner Haloma, I
Tuesday.
wanted to, thank you. It's a Tuesday, April 22nd. I just wanted to acknowledge Commissioner Halomo's ask for updates around information you may have about members of our community who may have passed since last year, correct? And if you could send that information to his attention.
Thank you.
Acknowledges those members that we've lost during the DACAC Luncheon for Arts Advocacy Day. Second, again, I'm bringing forward the invitation to attend our International Dance Day celebration in City Hall lobby on Tuesday, the 29th. There is a flyer in your packet. We have many wonderful things planned, but you know, it's a rare opportunity. We're trying to get into a cadence of how often we're hosting events in City Hall lobbies. But for us, you know, in the spirit of being strategic, it's our time to shine and to show folks what we're up to, and to give members of our cultural arts community a chance to come and be present with our policymakers and with you. And so if you can, please make it out to celebrate with us. And that's all, that's really all I have. I'm really thrilled to make it to another Arts Month. Another year. We have our upcoming meetings and events. I do want to acknowledge an off-record request from Chair Meek that the CPE committee date may be moved from the date that's posted here on the agenda. So we'll have to entertain that through, that change through Emmanuel with the committee once we can ensure we find a date that will have a forum. but the chair has requested that we shift that special called anyway. That meeting in April is off cadence. But we have some matters stemming from last month's meeting to discuss, so we'll find a better day to ensure the chair can be present and that we'll have quorum for that particular meeting.
So scratch April 24th from.
April 24th, there will not be a meeting that day.
Nobody told me that, and I was not
Yeah,
consulted about that date, so I would
Yeah,
have told.
we
you that I'm
set it
not-
at the,
I wasn't there.
yeah, I
So
know.
I'm saying that you set the date without me there, but you didn't tell me that was the date, so I'm out of town, so I
Oh, okay.
can't be there.
So what is the date?
I'm gonna have to find
Right,
one
you
that's
will have to find
compatible
one.
with everybody.
But I do, but the reason, I want to say this,
Right.
the reason we set that date was because there was some action that needed to be taken by a certain time, and we were trying to set the meeting before that
What
occurred.
action?
There was,
Well, essentially, if we wait until the May meeting to entertain further discussion on one of the agenda items noted, it would just put us in a pickle as far as program rollout. So the preference of the committee was to meet in April so that we don't have to wait
Okay, well,
another
this
30
can't be
days.
the 24th if you want me there, and I'm the chair, you should want me there.
I want you here.
yeah,
Thank you,
well, we
Grace.
want you, certainly want you.
We all do, so it's.
So we'll discuss that.
Let's find another date.
Are there, to the point of the meeting, anyone have any announcements? Everybody's involved in so many incredible artistic activities. Commissioner Holomo.
Thank you. I'm sitting here in front of the Dallas Arts District because we're about to have a dress rehearsal for tomorrow's Changing Perspective Block Party. There's a great lineup, talent, a lot of returning artists who are coming back. And, oh, my video was paused. Not sure why my video paused. Anyway, everybody come out. It's free, food trucks, entertainment. So.
Are you singing, Commissioner Holomo?
Not tomorrow night. No, I'll be emceeing, but I am singing at the Arts Mission Oak Cliff Variety Show. Thanks for asking.
Any other announcements? Yeah, Commissioner Watson.
I just want to go on record and thank Lynn Rushton Reed and her staff. The Public Art Committee has done just an amazing job the last few months. If y'all have noticed, we have come to a meeting every month with new art moving forward in the city. So what is happening is really exciting. You can call it the post-COVID rush. I'll call it the Lynn Rushton Reed and her staff rush. It's been really amazing. So thank you, Lynn. Thank you to your staff. It's unbelievable. Shout out to the Public Art Committee. We've had, I guess, 4 meetings this month, and 3 of the 4 we've had full participation of 11 members, which has been really great. So thank you all for being there. I know 3 people are on this commission, but the rest of the people involved are really committed. So a big shout out for that too. With that said, there are some commissioners that have Lynn and I have not met with to walk through the process and what's going on. And sorry about that. We've had to put some things on hold with some travel schedules, and we'll probably pick those up in May. We got to get through our Arts Month first. So probably mid-May we'll be that. So just hold tight. We'll get through everybody, and then we'll take everything we've learned from everybody and we'll share it out. We're going to write up some things, and it'll be shared out towards the end of the summer when we all reconvene. And then finally, in this package, it talks about a few different things, the public art dedication on the 23rd, and then the stories of the cancer's journeys on the 24th. I am personally out of town on these dates. I'm not with Vicki out of town, but we are both out of town. So if we could get some participation from some of our colleagues and friends, that would be really fabulous. We do not want to miss this public art dedication, family life. This has been on the books for a long time. So for no other reason, just come out to celebrate that it is done. But it's going to be really exciting. And unfortunately, like I said, I'm out of town in business.
I'm also out of town and that's my district, so I would appreciate anyone who came. I'll be in New York seeing Denzel Washington. Sorry, not sorry.
So I will not be doing that.
Well, I'm in a show at the end. So Linton, my husband, has been furiously framing all of my work. So I'm in a show with 2 other artists, and it's all, I guess Emmanuel would send something out. I've got a thing you can send out. It's going to be at the Justice Sunderman Gallery, which is at the it's part of the St. Matthew's Cathedral Arts Program, and it's just here on Ross. And it opens on the 27th, which is a Sunday at 2, and there's a reception, and there's food and drinks, and it's tons of fun. Yeah, and there should be a big crowd, and there's gonna be a lot of art for sale, so it goes for a good cause. So,
If they're, okay, Commissioner Nugent.
Archbishop, or the hip hop cabaret, I've got the cards. And it takes place on April 25th through the 27th at Arts Mission Oak Cliff.
Okay. Clyde.
No, I was just asking for a flyer.
Oh, okay, yes, let's pass them around. Commissioner Palomo has another comment.
Yes, so my understanding is that T-Ball is having one of the last performances before they have to close for the big convention center redo, and it's a Princess in the Ghetto. Johnny Johnson's Princess in the Ghetto, April 27th. So check it out.
If there are no other announcements, all business of the Arts and Culture Advisory Commission having been duly conducted, the meeting is adjourned.
Bye.
Thank you.
At 5:49.
right.
That's a great team day.